Hi, Melody Moore here, CEO of Business Tech Ninjas, your technology management agency. Today, we're going to be talking about how to choose the right software tool. As a technology management agency, it's not just about the tools that we're familiar with, but about choosing the right tool and making sure it's still the right tool with technology advancing as quickly as it is today. Now, a lot of this is being able to look at a sales page or sign up for a free trial and say, hey, is this a road we want to go down? And being able to ask those questions to understand, like, is this actually going to solve our problem? Because every salesperson and every sales page will give you half truths because underlying to it, they just want you to buy the software. And there's a skill and a process to go through to understand, okay, hey, is this a good software for me to implement? Now, the people that are watching that are incredibly detailed, that like to experiment like myself, are probably like, I'm just going to sign up for all of them and then go down that path and set them all up and it'll be amazing. And yes, I've done that before. It's very time consuming though. And so what I've come to is to spend a certain amount of time, usually a couple hours, doing some base level setup. And I'm talking a couple hours on all of the platforms. So I might go and do the same thing on all of the platforms to just see how it works and then choose just one. Because ultimately, the tool doesn't matter that much. How you use it matters the most. And are there high level, like glass ceiling limitations to that tool that are preventing you from getting to your next level? To give you a little bit of context for today, because today we're going to be talking about support ticketing softwares, I've reached a glass ceiling with my current support ticketing software, which is Teamwork Desk. Teamwork Desk is frustrating me for a couple different reasons. One of them, their support is terrible. I email in and I'm like, hey, I've got this problem. They're like, great. Like, here's 16 pages of documents for you to figure out your problem. I was like, not terribly helpful. Thanks. And then the last straw for me was when I emailed them. I was like, okay, hey, can I see a report of how many tickets my team has closed? And they're like, no problem, Melody. You'll just have to upgrade your subscription in order to be able to see a report on how many tickets one of your support people has closed. And to me, that is just so fundamental to a support ticketing software of a basic functionality that I'm just done. Additionally, Teamwork makes it so that if you want to use Desk, you also have to have a Teamwork user, which makes the monthly on this about $500 a month, which, as a seven-figure business, isn't the end of the world, but it is the end of the world when they're not very helpful on support. And I don't feel like they have a basic level of function, even on we're on one of their upgraded plans, frankly. So I've said, hey, I want a better tool. I want a tool that's going to actually help me to solve my problems and take some of the workload off of my team. So I've done a bit of research on the different support tools that are out there. Kind of thought about, okay, what is it that I really need? And this is really important as you're going through and looking at different softwares or implementing a different software. Really write down what problems are you looking to solve, whether you're implementing a new tool or replacing out a current one, and especially if you're replacing out a current one. I hear this a lot with CRMs where it's like, this CRM's not doing this, that, or the other. I'm just going to move to this other one. I was like, okay, well, why? Like, what specific pain is this causing? Because especially when you think about changing CRMs, there's a significant amount of work to doing that. There's going to be a significant amount of work changing over our support desk system. So I really want to make sure that I understand the value of what that's going to provide back to me, my team, and then my customers before going down that road. Because anytime you're implementing technology, assume it's going to take 3 times the amount of work that you think it is, and that there's going to be things along the way that you didn't know. And you've got to center yourself and appreciate that you're just gonna have to go down this path. And being bitter or upset about it as you get down that path of implementing a technology doesn't really help anyone. So you want to start out when you're implementing a new technology with the understanding it's probably going to be messier and it's probably going to take more time than what I think it is. But at the end of the day, even if that's the case, it's still going to be worth it to have this end result, because once a solid tool is in place, then it really does bring a level of ease to your business. Sometimes we just tolerate things because of that pain or whatever else. Anyways, let's get into this. I'm comparing out 2 tools today. One of them is called Intercom. Intercom by far is one of the leaders in the support desk software. I do find it a little bit on the pricier side, which is why I've kind of resisted it. And then the other one is Front. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing either one of these tools. If you are early stage, you're talking anything under 500, starts to kind of make sense over 500,000 to $1 million. Okay, yeah. Then once you're at seven figures in a business, these tools can really save you some time and bring some more efficiency to your business. Below that, there are one, I really love Fluent CRM support. So Fluent CRM has a support ticketing system that you can put right on your WordPress website. I love it because you don't have to pay any additional user fees. There are some other tools too. Zendesk is one of the more popular ones, Help Scout as well. I find that Zendesk is really a dated technology. Their user experience is terrible. The APIs are terrible. I don't even want to touch it for this, honestly. Help Scout's a pretty solid tool. It's got some really interesting usability functionalities with it, though, just like the shared inboxes. I would say you'd be good with Help Scout, but these two tools have a lot more. There's a lot more function in them over Help Scout. From what I've seen at this point in time in December 2023, we know that technologies build out new functionalities quite quickly. I wouldn't touch Zendesk personally. Help Scout maybe, just depending on what problem you're trying to look for. The two that we're going to be looking at today are Front and then Intercom. The reason for these two is they're the multi-channel support. So I want people to be able to text message. I want them to be able to chat on social. I want them to be able to message on social. I want them to be able to email. I want to be able to take all of my support things and put it in one place and make it really easy for my customers to get the support that they need. Now, one of the things that really attracted me to Intercom was this AI functionality. Now, AI been around for a while, but it's really picked up speed in the last couple months. And I'm really curious to see, okay, hey, what does this actually look like implementing? I like that they put this right on their homepage. Front doesn't have anything quite like that. Let's go to their sales page. But it is still very omni-channel. They're really focused on efficiency of a help desk with familiarity of email, which is nice. So let's just take a quick look at our our half-truth sales pages to start. So whenever I'm looking at a new software, it's kind of like the first place I look at of like, what are they featuring as the actual functionalities on the site? Now, keep in mind, you always want to take these functions with a grain of salt of what does team collaboration mean to them? What does a knowledge base mean to them? Live chat, like what kind of live chat? Is that an automated one? Is that one I have to put in there? Like, how do I check in? So just think about like what those things actually mean to you as you're scrolling through it. We got some trust stuff going on here. You have to take these sales pages with a little bit of grain of salt too, because there is a template to a sales page. And a good company would probably be following that template. So just keep that in mind. I like to read through kind of like, okay, what are they talking about? And this is marketing, this is sales, this is designed to sell you on this product. So you really want to be reading between the lines and be thinking about any questions that you might have for this. I find it painful to email into a support or a sales thing to ask those questions. I prefer if they have just a free trial and to see if I can just figure it out in their tool. This is a really good litmus test for me wanting to use that tool, because it's like if I can't figure out some basic stuff in their tool without having to chat with their support, it probably has terrible user experience and it's just going to be frustrating as I implement it down the road. Um, so this is good. I've already read through this quite a bit, so I'm just kind of scanning through it really quickly. The next page I'm going to go through is pricing, but we're going to look at Intercom's one first. So I like they give a little bit more detail on like what does their bot actually do. Oh, they have a Zendesk support system. That's interesting. Again, like you're seeing the same, like you've got your trust and credibility logos here, right? AI enhanced workspace. I'm really curious about what they're planning on doing with this. What I have seen with AI is exactly this of like rephrasing or having the AI make it clearer too, which I think is really great. I'm a big fan of ChatGPT and some of these tools. I feel like they've made me a better writer. They've made me clearer, or potentially down the road a worse writer. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. Maximize productivity with the fastest shared inbox, better tickets. And it's such a the challenge of choosing a software is that a lot of developers are really bad marketers and bad salespeople. So the shiniest sales page is not always the best tool, unfortunately. So you really do want to take these with a grain of salt. And by far, like I think Intercom's one is actually quite a bit better. Resolve 50% of the customer service questions instantly. So they have their bot here. They're really focused on like the challenges of what I'm facing. Whereas if we go back to, let's go back to the front one. This is they're like very feature focused. So automation and attention, speed and personalization, measure customer happiness and team performance. You know that's important to me. Um, Whereas like if you look at this, resolve 50% of your customer questions instantly. So it's like it's solving, it's like what's in it for me. So they've spent some good marketing time on this. And you know, they still have their features stuff here as well. And like this is still like a what's in it for me as opposed to the other sales page. Anyways, I'm getting into sales page breakdown versus actually choosing the underlying tool. What I want to look at next is pricing for both of them. Like compare out like is there a hard cost pricing difference between these two? And I didn't really see any substantial amount of pricing difference between them, but there's certainly some feature difference between them as well. I'm going to look at this. So shared inboxes, and I just kind of quickly went through this of like what's not included because like can I get away with this $39 or am I going to want to do this $99 thing? Multiple team inboxes. That's interesting. Provide multiple inboxes per team, workflows for advanced users, summarization, autofill, multilingual, workload management. I just like to scroll, and it's just a really nice user experience where you can kind of mouse over and see what all these different things are. This is interesting. They have a chat bot that charges 99 cents per resolution, which I'm very curious about. Part of me just wants to test it to see how cool is this, right? Like what does this do? Um, and I also am looking just for like nitpickiness with pricing of like every time you open up a page, it's 1 cent. And you can see this with softwares where they just charge in like really weird ways. And it's like, that doesn't actually provide value to me. Why are you charging for that? And like, this is a challenge. So they have the social, but it's an additional fee. And it looks like you can send out email campaigns. And, you know, this is standard like SMS, like there's a fee for SMS that you're going to have to charge per SMS. I'm curious why there's a fee for this one though. Custom objects, custom events. Looks pretty good. Let's look at their page here. This is a little bit different. Email, social channels. So they include social channels right in their base level pricing. Let's look and see what that was. So it's 59. So it's more than the other base level pricing, but it includes social right off the bat, which is very interesting. Third party chat, website forms, voice communication, easy to use, shared inbox, internal comments. And it's also nice to compare out because it's like, why don't the other ones have? Because like they're different feature lists, which I always find fascinating. Of like, what does this company think is important to their people? I find it interesting that there's a rule limit. A 10 rule limit to me is pretty low for a support desk system. Like I can't even tell you how many rules we have in our current one. A lot. Let's just put it that way. And they also have the most overall assigns to the fewest open assigned. That's interesting and kind of cool. Live chat bots. So you'll kind of get a feel for like what should you expect? Like what is the base level of expectation on the software that you're choosing? And try to get away from the noise because it's really easy to get into the noise of just like all the things that you can do with something and then coming back to that list of like what truly matters to you as you're choosing a support desk system. So one of the things, so I looked at the pricing pages. I signed up for a free trial with both. I love Intercom's like a functionality to confirm your email. They have this really clever thing where when you sign up for a free trial on the next page, when you click on the confirm with Gmail, it like opens up in Gmail and like searches for the email in your inbox, which I thought was so slick. There's just an element with Intercom that I've noticed is that they're very thoughtful in their onboarding and how people get into their tool and work developing our own softwares and working with software developers. That work and that investment really tells me that they care about the success of their customers. a lot of software companies just simply don't spend the time because it's easier to just do what's in front of you. So a lot of software companies will just handle the support tickets or the requests that are coming in, but not really take that bigger picture view of like, okay, how are people actually using our software and how can we make that better and easier? In my experience with Intercom, going through the trial and like working through their software has really been a level of attention to detail of that user experience for me as I'm going through that software. Front is not bad, but just in comparison out. And one of the interesting things is like they have their learning functionalities on a separate subdomain, whereas in Intercom, you have it built right within it. So I kind of like this better. And this is kind of like six to one, half dozen to the other. But I just feel like this is better. It's better thought out because it's like it's a software tool that you're learning. And in my mind, it should be integrated into the actual tool itself, at least in some way. And it's okay for it to click off maybe into a subdomain, but I'm not really seeing, like if I go into here, this is the front one, but like they don't have anything in here. So they have their setup guide here, core capabilities, and let's see what they do on this. So this is nice. This is kind of what I was looking for. And this happened immediately when I went into Intercom. Like Intercom was such a great experience. I got that free trial notification. I went in and it walked me through stuff right away. And I was like kind of excited. I was like, okay, this is cool. And like their user interfaces on both are very similar as well. Where's Intercom? Apparently I got out of the Intercom thing. Let's go back over here. Actually, it threw me off. This is the actual back end. I was like, this is their training. What? So it's like it's a very different interface that you even see right here too. And I'm so excited to implement both of these. I'm probably going to do the setup on both and then see which one is easier because I have to connect all my accounts. We've got a chat AI here. I have to connect all my accounts and I just want to see like what does that look like. I don't want to do that. Proactive support. I just like to kind of click around, see what's going on in here. And they have some nice things about proactive support. And this is one of the reasons why I really liked this because our specialty is membership sites. And I'm also kind of testing this for clients. Like, is this, I like to test things internally and kind of see what it is and how it works and what that setup process is like. But when I think about, an onboarding new customers into a membership site is really nice. And I've seen a lot of really done workflows with Intercom that kind of guide people through like, here's where your first video is, and here's where your my account section is, and here's where social is. And that kind of helps to like guide people around because as you've seen here, like I'm very technology centric. I'll just like click around and do stuff. That's not true for the majority of people. And I always think it's funny because clients will be like, our people just aren't very technical. And I was like, I don't think that I've ever heard any client say, oh, our people are just really technical and they get it. Like everyone thinks that their people are just not very technical. And the truth to that is that the people emailing to support aren't. The people you don't hear from are typically the ones that just get it and they just get it done. And they don't really cause much of a fuss. But as a business owner, you're probably going to hear the most from the non-technical people because they're the ones that are having issues. So I'm really excited about doing this proactive support functionality. I'm probably, this is probably going to be one of the main things I look at of like, what kind of reports can I run in each? Because I want to be able to see, like, again, like part of the reason why I'm leaving the last one is just the level of reporting, of keeping on top of my support people to understand how many tickets are they actually solving. And one of the things that we measure is how many back and forth does it take to actually solve an issue? Because I have a lot of very strong thoughts on what good support looks like. And it is easier to make a support ticket take like 10 things back and forth. The other common thing that I see with support is somebody won't really answer the question. And I think about Teamwork Desk a little bit, where it's like they sent me just a help document, which really didn't answer my question. And, they're able to then close that ticket. So I want to have reporting in our support desk that really allows me insight into making sure that my support people are doing the right things. And that's fundamentally important to me. I want to make it so that it's really easy for my customers to see their support tickets, to manage their support tickets. And then we also have a functionality on our growth plan that makes it so that people can only have one open ticket at a time, just for chaotic reasons and a number of other things. But like, can they handle that, and how would each one of those tools handle it? So the next stage of this process for me is going to be to actually go through and set these up for myself. Now, I don't want to get too far in the setup. I'm really leaning towards Intercom, honestly, at this point. So as I go through the setup process, unless there's something that's really fantastic about Front, like the price difference is fairly nominal. And I like a lot of what Intercom has done. They are very much, I think, pushing the bar in their development of what is possible with the support desk tool. And I want to be along for the ride. I like technologies and tools that are pushing the boundaries and like, hey, how can we solve problems better? Because at Business Tech Ninjas, we like to solve problems beautifully, and that's fundamental to who we are. So we like softwares that believe in the same thing that we do and try to make our lives and the lives of our customers better. If you need any help with your technology implementation, you can get in touch with us at businesstechninjas.com. Have a wonderful rest of your day.